Welcome everyone to the one and only Footy Podcast episode 9. We're going to be reviewing round 21, previewing round 22, talking about the ladder, things like that. So we started off Friday night. 2 games Friday night, but the first game was at Marvel Stadium. Western Bulldogs hosted Melbourne. And I'd picked Western Bulldogs to win, and obviously Western Bulldogs kicked their ass, 51 points. Melbourne, they're a bad team. I don't know why, but they just are. And Hugo Hagen, if he would have kicked straight, he could have had 7 or 8 goals. And Bonampelli played well. Treloar played well in his 250th. Western Bulldogs are scary, man. Even though they're like 5th or 6th currently, they've been winning a lot of games recently. Their form's been incredible. Like, they're basically pushing into September. They're looking like a great team. And yeah, I take them seriously. Unlike Melbourne, their season is shot. They're forcing Max Gawn to play, but they've got no other ruckman, and he's injured. And Oliver's dropped off so much, and Viney can't touch the ball. And yeah, I don't know about Melbourne. The downfall's crazy. Like, they were top 4 2022, 2023. I know they didn't win a final, but at least they were top 4. And this year, they're not even going to make finals whatsoever. With the talent they have, the only major injury is Petrarca. It's the only guy. The whole rest of the team's healthy. Maybe you can say Oliver. He's got a little thumb injury, but and Gawn. But it's like Petrarca played most of the year. Gawn has only been injured recently, so they had a lot of good weeks where all the players are fit and just, I don't know, not good enough. And they're going to think about next year, obviously. Get Clayton over a good preseason, get Petrarca going, get Gawn going, get everyone going, and they can make finals next year. Obviously, they have enough talent, but Western Bulldogs just played with this, killed them, man. Western Bulldogs have been such good nick recently. They just kill anyone they're facing. And they look like maybe top 4, or at least top 5, the way they've been playing. A few weeks ago, I wouldn't say so, but they're also inconsistent. But now they're beating everyone. Carlton, Geelong, Sydney, they're beating everyone. Like, anyone you put in front of them, they're going to beat. So, and then next week, they got Adelaide, so that could be an easy game for them. And then they got North Melbourne as well. And then the last round they got GWS at home. So they could win all 3, and that's definitely top 4. But North Melbourne and Adelaide, doesn't matter if Adelaide's away. Adelaide and North Melbourne are not good teams. Especially Western Bulldogs are better than both. And then GWS at Mars could be 50-50. But I would say they win 2 of the 3, so that would be like at least 5th place. So Western Bulldogs, good team. And Bonampelli's a legend. Might win a Brownlow. What a good team, man. Western Bulldogs, impressive, man. Winning what? Making 110 points and Melbourne 59 is crazy. Like, good win, amazing win. And Melbourne have no forward line, as everyone knows. And what else can you say about them? Every week they don't have forward line. They can't score. They can't win games. That's it. They just need some forwards. Draft some forwards. I don't know. Get some more depth in the midfield. Get some younger defenders maybe. Because May's getting old. So Tom McDonald's getting very old. He's ancient now. So got to just restock and try and go for another premiership tilt next year. In the game I went to, it was Eagles hosting Gold Coast up the stadium, and we know Gold Coast can't win away. So I picked the Eagles. A lot of people didn't pick the Eagles. A lot of people said, oh, Gold Coast, they lost at home. They lost their last 2. Surely they can't lose 3 in a row. It's the Eagles. Surely they can beat the Eagles in Perth, but no. Eagles won. Crowd was crazy. Crowd was insane. People losing their minds. The Eagles haven't won a game in like nearly 3 months. Like, I think Eagles lost 9 in a row, and this is their first win since Melbourne. I think it was. I'd have to say that was a long, long time ago. So the crowd was happy, and Gold Coast, they were winning most of the game and just like let it slip at the end. And Eagles just put the foot down the last quarter, kicked 2 or 3 goals. Liam Duggan goal, Liam Ryan goal. Clutch everywhere, and Eagles just win, and that's it. Eagles won by 10. They scored 97, was quite a high score from them. Scored in the 90s since I think they faced Essendon at Marvel maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. And Gold Coast, I don't know. Like, McAndrew kicked his 3 in the first half, and after that he did nothing. And Ben Kin got like whacked in the face, so he didn't have a good game really. And Lakosha's playing on the wing, even though I'd say he's a forward. And Sam Collins didn't touch the ball, and I don't know about Gold Coast, man. Rao was amazing, but the rest of the midfield didn't show up really. Flanders was good, but Noah Anderson didn't have his usual impact. Yeah. Still missing Toot Miller, obviously, and Ballard's a good player. They got a lot of good defenders, obviously, but their forward line just didn't play well. In the last quarter, they kept kicking to the Eagles guys, kept kicking it to McGovern. Like even Liam Ryan played in the back and intercepted a mark, and they just couldn't get the ball in the last quarter. Gold Coast, like they were just comprehensively beating the last quarter. They had the game, like they were ahead most of the game. Just the last quarter, they just fell away, and all the hat kicking and all the stress and all the I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about Gold Coast. No finals again. 14 years in a row. I don't know. The season's officially dead. Damien Hardaway probably wasn't happy. But you haven't won away in 18 months. It's insane, man. It's insane how long it has been since they haven't won an away game. Then they only won 2 away games last year. So they won 2 away games the last, 24? Whatever. It's crazy, man. 2 wins the last 22 away. It's, insanely bad. I don't know why they're so shocking. The Eagles are no better, but, man. Gold Coast are so much talented than the Eagles. And if this was in Queensland, Gold Coast would have won. But since it's in Perth, they're like, nah, we can't play away. I don't know about Gold Coast, man. Another wasted season. Another wasted potential of all these good players. I don't know. And they stay. Poor bastards, man. Anderson, Rao, Flanders, Collins, King, Lukosius, Miller, Sexton. You got good players at Ballard. There's players everywhere that are good, and they still haven't tasted finals after all these years. I don't know what to say about this special team. And Gold Coast don't have fans. Ooh, you wonder why. The Brisbane team's insanely good, and then you got Gold Coast that can't even get in the final. Not even 8th place, man. What are they doing? They were 8th this time in round 12, but now they're 11th or 12th, but they've dropped the last 3. Man. And Eagles, at least they got to win. This probably will be their last win of the year. But they are facing North Melbourne next week, or this week. But that's at Blundstone, and Eagles haven't won away since last year as well. And Eagles play really bad away, I don't know why. And they always play better at home. But as I was saying, Eagles wouldn't play better at home, and then that's just the formula. And yeah. So yeah, good wing Eagles. Unexpected by some, but I definitely expected it. But Gold Coast just don't bring their shoes when they jump on the plane. I don't know. And they got a good coach, so I don't know what's going on there. And then we had North Melbourne hosting Richmond. This was a wooden spoon competition, and North Melbourne won, as expected, I'd say. Close game, only 13 points lead. And LDU was insane, 33 and 3 goals, I think. And Shoesville played well, and Larkey kicked 5. And Richmond, this is now Richmond's, I think, 7th loss in a row. And this is North Melbourne's first win in a while, too. I think their last win was against Gold Coast. Yeah. So still maybe 3 or 4 weeks since they won a game. So they won a game, and the fans would have been happy. And North Melbourne was always a better team. Didn't matter where this game was played. North Melbourne are the better team. And Richmond having tons of injuries, and even with the players they have, they just, I don't know. Tom Lynch not being there really hurts their forward line. Their forward line is very, very, very weak. And North Melbourne have Zurha and Larkey, and they're 2 good players. Larkey's an amazing player, man, especially in their wins. He plays insane in their wins. In the losses, not so much, because he can't get the ball, because they can't kick it to him. But usually their midfield gets slaughtered. But he had his good game in North Melbourne. I think now they're 17th, and they'll probably go up to 16th if they beat the Eagles next week, and that's at Blundstone. So I do probably see them winning that game too. And I think Wardlaw might be back, or he's injured still, but they still got a lot of young players that are good. McKercher is insane, man. He is averaging 22 at 19 years old. Sheezel's like a gun. What a gun Sheezel is. Probably another best than Ferris. And I think there's good players all around North Melbourne. And Cherry, he's a great ruckman. He's getting a lot of praise. And yeah, North Melbourne should rise next year, as I was saying last week. They should rise next year. They've got enough good players. They've got a lot better list than the Eagles. A lot better list than Richmond. So they should rise a little bit, but we'll see. We had Geelong hosting Adelaide Crows, and Geelong were the favourites, and it should have been a convincing win, but it wasn't. They only won by 5, and they got a little scared because Adelaide was in front with about maybe 6 minutes ago. Then Jeremy Cameron came in and won the game for them, and he kicked 6. What a legend, man. He hadn't played that well in a while. And the forwards were in sync to Geelong, and Geelong had just way too much tough for Adelaide, and Walker had his few goals, but besides that, Adelaide nearly won, so it's quite a good effort for them, especially in Geelong. They only lost by 5, so it's an honourable loss, but still a loss. And Adelaide's season has obviously been a waste because they were ninth last year, I think, and they should have made finals this year, but they just lost so many games they shouldn't have, and I don't know what happened, man. And Matt Nix has been there since 2020. They still haven't made finals, so I don't know why they keep him. And the list is decent enough to make finals, but it showed last year they were like fringe finals, like that close to finals. But this year, they've dropped off insanely. I don't know why, but got to reset for next year. But they're thinking about next year too, probably. Dawson, Crouch, Laird. You've got enough good players around. Riley O'Brien. Got a young forward line, young back line. Right, Thilthorpe is a great player. So if Walker retires, you still have Thilthorpe. You still have Fogarty's okay, and Rochelli's good, and got enough good players on that team to be better than they are, which is like what 14th or 15th. They're a lot better team than that. And Geelong, they've been hitting some good form as of late, and Geelong will probably finish top 4 because they got some easy games coming up, and a win they should have won, and should have been a lot easier, not just 5 points. But if Jeremy Cameron wasn't there, they wouldn't have won that game, because he just like carries that forward like crazy since Hawkins isn't around, and Jack Henry can't touch the ball much, and I know Oliver Henry, sorry about that. Oliver Henry hasn't been kicking goals often, and Stengel can be hot and cold sometimes, and yeah. But Cameron kicked his 6, and then the next guy, the only other guy to have multiple was this guy. I can't even say his name. Sean. Yeah, I can't say that. But it shows like their forward line is very reliant on Cameron. So if he has a bad game, they're probably losing. And a lot of teams are like that. They have one forward. It was like Oliver Henry had 1 goal, and he kicked 40 last year, and he's only had maybe 25 this year, so he's dropped off a bit. And Stengel's having a good year, of course. Yeah. Thilthorpe had 3, and Rochelli had 3. So like the Adelaide forward line was better, and Tex had 2. And Geelong just fell over the line, very lucky. And Dempsey's going to win the Rising Star because he played well again, as usual. And yeah, that's what we've got to say about Geelong. Lucky. Not convincing, but still good to win. So we had a banging game. Collingwood hosted Carlton, the MCG, in front of, I think, 80-something thousand for Pendlebury's 400th. And Collingwood got the win, and Collingwood are up by, I think, 5 goals, 3/4 time. And Carlton came storming home and almost got the win. Mitch McGovern marks the ball, kicks for a goal after the siren, and sprays it. He doesn't even touch the goal out on the full, and Collingwood fans going crazy. And Pendlebury was all class. Dacos played well. De Goey got injured again, sadly. Chera did his hamstring. Curnow didn't kick a goal for the first time in like 3 years. Mackay didn't do much. It was a close game, surprisingly close for like how little in-cap Curnow and Mackay had that game, that they only lost by 3. And McStay didn't play well either, just all the main force didn't really kick any goal. Like the goal he kicked it 2, which he doesn't do often. Hoskin kicked 2, he doesn't do often. Mason Cox kicked 2, he doesn't do often. And Bobby kicked 1 goal 4. So if Bobby Hill would have kicked straight, they would have won by a lot more. And then for Carlton, Hollands kicked 2, Fogarty kicked 2, Jack Martin kicked 2. So not like the players they should be kicking a lot of goals. Cripps had his 1 goal. Cripps had his 3rd in a goal. Dacos had 20 in a goal. So I'm saying McStay kicked only 1. Schultz only kicked 1. So like most of the forwards were quite quiet. And Carlton, Chera got injured. Cottrell got injured. So a decent amount of injuries. 3 injuries in that game. And yeah, Collingwood keep their season alive by a little bit. And they're only 1 game out of the 8 now, because they spoiled the Carlton party. And Carlton have lost the last, I think, 2 now. 2 or 3, let's see. They lost the last 2, and I think 4 of the last 5 they lost Carlton now. And next week they got Hawthorn, and if they lose to Hawthorn, they're out the 8. So it's like so much talent in this team, and just Cripps was carrying so bad in the midfield. Walsh didn't really do much. Stewart didn't really do much. Kennedy was like, but Cripps that carried so bad, man, and like he needs other players to help him, and like the forward line, man, I don't think Curnow and Mackay barely touched the ball and barely marked the ball, and that's why they lost. I think Curnow kicks 1, they win the game. Mackay kicks 1, they win the game. Like They were very well held defensively. They couldn't mark the ball. I didn't even know Kern and Mackay were playing. They barely even touched the ball. But yeah, kind of a better team than being 8th place. Like, they're a lot better team. They were top 2 not long ago, and they've fell to 8th because all these losses to anyone and everyone. But yeah, we'll see if they respond this week against Hawthorn. We shall see. If they want to make finals, they got to win. Obviously, win a few of the next games, and they'll win. They'll make it. If they drop some games, they're done. Imagine the choke from being second all the way out of the final. That's crazy, man. It looked guaranteed they were going to have a home final. It looked guaranteed that they were the best team behind Sydney, and then just fall off the cliff. I don't know why or how, but they made the prelim last year, man. And look at them, like, they don't look like they're making no prelim this year the way they're playing right now. But things can change, obviously. We had Port Adelaide hosting Sydney at Adelaide Oval, and I picked Sydney, but I thought Sydney lost their last 2, I think 3, 4 of the last 5. Surely they can, 3 of the last 4. Surely they'll win a game. And Port Adelaide smoke them, man. Like, Port Adelaide, I think it was 70-0 at some point. Like, Port Adelaide put the foot down, won by 112 points, man. Sydney gave up conceded 148 points. Longmire's biggest loss. They conceded 22 goals. That's crazy, man. Like, Sydney didn't kick a goal to the midway in the second quarter. It was crazy. Like, Port Adelaide smoked them, man. Port Adelaide, everyone at Port Adelaide 8. Georgiades 4, Willioli 4, Dixon 3, Francis Evans 2, Houston 2. It's like, man. And the only one that kicked multiple was Sydney was McLean, and like Warner didn't have much of the ball. Gordon only had 25. Like, Heaney had a quiet game. Robon got injured. While Port Adelaide, Drew, Wines, Butters, Son Francis, Rosie, Farrell all had 25 plus. Like, that midfield absolutely destroyed, man. And they had 100 more touches, so it's like Port Adelaide just killed them, and Sydney somehow still first. But if Sydney lose another game, they won't be first. But their percentage got massive hit. Their percentage went down by like 8. It was crazy. And Port Adelaide went up by 8. And Port Adelaide was hanging out of the 8. They were like 7th or 8th place at the start of the round. And from that win, now they're like 3rd or 4th. It's crazy, man. Like, it's a crazy tournament for Port Adelaide, but not that long ago. They lost 3 in a row. They lost to Brisbane by like 80. And then they just turned around, beat St Kilda, beat Sydney, beat Carlton. Like, Port Adelaide has some good form, man. And I see them maybe finishing top 6. And I don't know how legit they are, because we saw how last year they went out in straight sets from top 4. But the impressive game, definitely. And Todd Marshall wasn't playing, so it shows that their forward line doesn't need him, and he'd feel sad about that, obviously. But Dixon had one of his best games in a while, and Rioli kicking forward is a very rare thing, but he did that. And Georgiades had a game out, and Sydney didn't even show up. So Sydney kicked 5 goals, and all that talent is crazy. Like, I know Amadi didn't play, but the only ones they didn't play was Amadi, Papley, Rampy, McInerney. All the rest of the teams there healthy as day, and they got smoked, man. This is the number 1 team on the ladder, just because they won so many games early in the year, and they've dropped for the last 5 of the last 6. Man, they've been in horrible form, man. I don't know about Sydney. They're definitely not premiership favourites anymore. I can't see them winning the premiership. You lose by 112 to anyone, you won't win the premiership. It's probably never happened to lose by that much and win a premiership. So I think Port Adelaide are like more of a contender than Sydney right now. So I think Sydney can make prelim if they're lucky. But man, I can't really see them finishing first. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't know about Sydney, man. If they would have won this game, I would have thought differently. But man, they just got killed, man. If they would have lost by 20 or 30, it's not that bad. By 112, you can't win a premiership by losing by 112. And even if all your guys are back, you ain't winning nothing, Sydney. I'm sorry. All those wins are nothing. Poor Sydney. If they do win the premiership, it'd be very unexpected to lose by 20 goals nearly and win a premiership like not many weeks later. But I can't see it happening. So they've been the number 1 seed all year, but these last few weeks lose. They ain't no number 1 seed anymore. They can finish first, but I can't see them as the best team in the league right now. Especially how Brisbane and Western Bulldogs and Port Adelaide and GWS are playing in Geelong even. And our first game on Sunday was GWS hosting Hawthorn at Manuka Oval in Canberra, and I picked GWS, and my poor Hawks leading all game, up 28 3/4 time. GWS just got the hammer. 7 goals in the last quarter. Hawthorn only kicked 2 and won the game. And they just smoked Hawthorn, man, in the last quarter. That's insane. Like, GWS had kicked 5 goals for 3/4 time in the last quarter. 7. Bang. Dead. And Hawthorn lose another lead like they did Port Adelaide. And that's probably going to cost Hawthorn a finals chance, which is quite sad. And I was angry, man. Hawthorn led 111 minutes of the 120. And they just lost it at the end. It's crazy, man. GWS had a nice comeback win, obviously. GWS are a very talented team in their top 4 right now. They've won their last 5 games. Because before that, they were a bit shaky, losing some games. But they started 5-0, lost a few, won some, maybe lost 2-3 in a row. Then now they won their last 5. So they're in good form and when it matters, but there's not many weeks left in the season. So they're primed to finish, like, maybe top 6. I don't know. It's like so many teams that are, like, a decent amount of teams that are looking good. Some teams are looking bad, but such a, like, even season, it's hard to say who's going to finish top 4. But you don't even know if Sydney's going to finish top 4 the way they're playing. Or Brisbane, because, like, anyone can just lose games and they're out. GWS are, like, I would say GWS are a contender. I'd say them, Fremantle, Brisbane, Western Bulldogs. I'd say that'd be my 4. But Sydney would be there somewhere, but, like, yeah, it's hard to pick the favourite. I'd say the favourite would be Brisbane, but at the MCG, weird things happened to Brisbane at the MCG, so I don't know. And then we had Essendon hosting Fremantle at MCG, and Essendon really desperately needed this win. That's why I picked them, but they lost their last, I think, 2 or 3. They lost against Melbourne. They lost against Essendon. No, Melbourne, St Kilda, Adelaide. So they lost all these games they shouldn't have, and then they won this game by 1. But it was tied 89-89 with 30 seconds to go because Amos just kicked a goal. And then out the clearance, Merritt, Durham behind, 24 seconds left. Fremantle trying to get it back. Draper, mark, game over. So it was a good win by Essendon. Fremantle are a little bit shaky away from home. But they've lost a few away games. So every team loses, so that's why I picked Essendon, not because it was away. It was in Perth. Fremantle are, like, have a very, very good record at Perth this year. The away record's not as good, but Fremantle, I think, dropped down to 6 now. They were 3rd if they would have won, but they dropped down to 6. But I see them responding this week. They got Geelong at home, and they got Port Adelaide in round 24 at home, and then round 23 they're facing GWS at GWS's home. So a decently hard fixture, but at least 2 of them are home. So Fremantle are, like, definitely should make finals. Should definitely be top 6. A home final should be definite. Even top 4 if they win 2 of the 3, I'd say. Or even 3 of the 3. Could be top 2 if they win 3 of the 3. And Essendon are only 2 points in percentage out of the top 8, but their percentage is very, very low. And so it'd be hard for them to make finals. And they've got some hard games coming up. They're facing Gold Coast at home next week, or this week, which they should win. But after that, it's like Brisbane away and Sydney at home for them. But Sydney could turn around by them and be a better team, and Brisbane are very good at home, so it could be a hard road there, but they got a chance to make finals, obviously. It's them, Hawthorn and Collingwood, other 3 that are out the 8 that still have a little chance, but I think Collingwood could probably go in. I don't know, though. Just like Collingwood has Sydney, which I don't know if they'll win. They got Brisbane at the G. They probably should win that. That's at the G. And they got Melbourne at the G, which I don't know. Those 2 teams, I don't know. So I think out of the 3 that are out the 8, Collingwood could be the one that gets in. I don't think Hawthorn or Essendon are good enough. I think Collingwood could, just because they got experience. They won the premiership last year. They'll have players coming back. Myercheck will probably be back soon. Tom Mitchell will be back soon. Yes, we shall see. Very interesting top 8. There's still 11 teams in it. That's good. There's only 3 weeks to go. So 11 teams fighting for 8 spots is good, man. It's good. Good season. In the last game, we had St Kilda hosting Brisbane Lions at the Marvel Stadium. And as I expected, Brisbane won. But Brisbane won by 85. They killed them, man. Like, you always think St Kilda have a little bit of a chance at Marvel, because they beat Essendon. You think, oh, St Kilda have a little chance at Marvel. But Brisbane just said, nah, we're the best team in the league. We're going to smoke you. 85 is crazy. And Brisbane are now 2nd, and they're so close to 1st, only a game behind 1st. And Brisbane have won their last 9. They've been in crazy form, beating everyone. Danaher kicked 4. Zach Bailey kick 3, Rayner 3, KMRG 2, Charlie Cameron 2, Logan Morris 2. I'm saying Hipwood didn't. Hang on. Hipwood didn't even play. Interesting. I didn't know that. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, Hipwood didn't play. Oh, I didn't know that, but okay. Gonna say Hipwood didn't kick a goal when they still won, but he didn't play. And Neil had his 33, McCluggage had 28 in goals, Zorko had 26. All the usuals, Rayner 22, Bailey 20, Dunkley had a 20. Like, Harris Andrews came back. Very even team performance again, and Brisbane aiming for top 2 spot. They probably should, the way they've been playing. They deserve top 2. And St Kilda, failed season compared to last year, where they finished 7th last year. No, 6th last year, and they've dropped all the way to like bottom 5. It's crazy. I don't know. St Kilda need to think about next year, obviously. They will think about next year. To make some moves, maybe, because this team is better than bottom 5. It showed last year. And then we're going to preview round 22. We got Sydney Swans hosting Collingwood, the SCG. Sydney Swans are the favourites at $1.47. The Collingwood's $2.70. First versus 11th. And I know I pick Sydney every single week, but I don't know who to pick, man. Sydney have to win, surely. Sydney can't lose. Sydney can't lose another game, man. Like, come on. Sydney got to win. There's so much on the line for Sydney. If they lose, they could drop to like probably 4th or something. Like, Sydney have to win, surely. I pick Sydney. No confidence, but I pick Sydney. Man. And you have to respond from 112-point killing, surely. Sydney are the better team than Collingwood. Everything's in their favour. So, Sydney should win. We'll see. Then we got Saturday. Brisbane hosting GWS at the Gabba. Brisbane a 2nd place, $1.33. GWS a 4th, $3.34. And I think the betting odds should be a lot closer, but this should be like a cracking close game. But I got Brisbane, but it's at home, and Brisbane have been very, very good at home this year. And GWS, but then both these teams, 9 winning streak, 5 winning streak, one's gonna break, so they're both due for a loss, but it should be a good game. I got Brisbane winning. Then we got North Melbourne hosting the Eagles at Blundstone Arena, Hobart, 17th versus 16th, and North Melbourne are obviously the favourites at $1.56, and Eagles are $2.44. And I got North Melbourne winning because North Melbourne played decent at Tasmania, and Eagles haven't played well away from home for a long time. And yeah, they won this week against Gold Coast, but I don't see them winning 2 in a row. And while North Melbourne had a good win against Richmond, they should back it up and beat the Eagles. But Larkey, I think, is too good. And that midfield, LDU, Simpkin, Sheasel, they're all too good for the Eagles. I would say it'd be a close game, I'd say. And then we got Fremantle hosting Geelong at Optus Stadium. Fremantle are 6th at $1.50 and Geelong are 5th, $2.62. And along the line for Fremantle, if Fremantle lose this, they're like 8th probably. But if they win this, they're going to top 4. And same with Geelong. Geelong are 5th. They lose this, they drop into 6th or 7th. And if they win, they're top 4. So along the line, this game should be a close game. It's $2.60 to $1.50 is quite big odds. It shouldn't be that far apart. It should be a close game as well. But I got Freo winning, responding to the small loss they had against Essendon. Tracy and Amos will go crazy, I think. If Fremantle always respond at home, so that's what I see happen. And then we got Marvel Stadium, Essendon hosting Gold Coast. Essendon $1.51. They're 9th place, and Gold Coast 13th, $2.57. Now this is a hard game to tip. Little bit. But I think I trust Essendon because, as we know, Gold Coast can't win away. So I got Essendon winning. And from this win, I think maybe they'll go 8th. I'm not sure. But yeah, their finals is on the line if they don't win this. So they should be able to win this. But they've lost games to Essendon and St Kilda, which are bottom teams recently. So I don't know who to trust. But I got Essendon winning. And that would mean Gold Coast lose their last 4, and their drop-off has been insane. But I can't trust Gold Coast. Anywhere they play, I can't trust them. Home, maybe a little bit, but I can't trust them. And then we've got Melbourne hosting Port Adelaide at the MCG, and Melbourne are 12th, $2.87. Port Adelaide are third, $1.42. And this is a hard game to tip. I know the odds are not close, and it's 12th place versus third place, and I know it's Melbourne's home game, the G. And Port have been in cracking form, but I don't know who to pick in this one. I think I'll pick Port Adelaide because I know Melbourne lost their last three, and you think Melbourne should get a win. It's at home and all this, but they couldn't beat GWS at home. So what makes them? They can't beat any good team like Melbourne. I don't know. Last team they beat was Essendon, and Essendon aren't that good. So I've got Port Adelaide winning. I don't think by much, but Port Adelaide should be winning and stay in the top four. But right now, Port Adelaide deserve top four. The way they've been playing the last 4 to 5 weeks has been good enough to merit that. But if Melbourne win, their chance of finals is this small. But I can't see them winning. I could be wrong. Should be a close game, but we shall see. And on Sunday, we've got Carlton hosting Hawthorn of the G. 8th versus 10th, $1.90. Carlton the favourites and Hawthorn $1.94. This should be like this should be a close game. Good game, big crowd, a lot on the line. Carlton lose this, they're at the 8. Hawthorn win this, they're possibly in the 8. Hawthorn lose this, their probably season's over. And Carlton lose this, their chance of finals go from here to here. But I have Carlton winning. I see Carlton responding. They lost the last 2 now, Port and Collingwood, by decently small margins. So I got Carlton responding and winning this. And that would mean sadly Hawthorn's season will be over. But Hawthorn started poor. They lost the first 5. They choked the lead of Port. They choked the lead GWS. I don't think Hawthorn are good enough to win this. And this season's probably over. But Carlton are too good to not make finals, I think. So Carlton should win this. And Kerno Mackay should probably respond and kick some goals and win this. And Hawthorn don't really have the defenders that can contain those two. So I think Carlton will be winning by maybe 4 goals. But I could be wrong, obviously. But I got confidence in Carlton, I think. Then we got Richmond hosting St Kilda at Marvel Stadium. And Richmond 18th, $3.80. And St Kilda the favourites, 14th, $1.27. And what can you say about this game? St Kilda should be winning. What else is there to say? Richmond are bad. St Kilda are better. I don't know what else to say. This game doesn't really mean anything, but St Kilda should win and have some confidence. But their last few weeks have been playing decent, so they should have confidence in next year that they can be a better team. And then the last game of Sunday, last game of the round, Adelaide hosting Western Bulldogs. Adelaide are 15th for $3, and Western Bulldogs are 7th for $1.39. And Western Bulldogs should be winning this, which means this would be their 5th win in a row, and they could be, if they win this, they could probably be 6th or 5th and go up. If they lose, they're nearly out the 8, so they're quite low on the line for Western Bulldogs, so they should be able to win this game. Don't matter if it's at Adelaide or not. Because we saw Adelaide play against Hawthorn in Adelaide, it was terrible. So I've got Western Bulldogs winning this and outpowering them and being a better team, and should be winning by a comfortable margin. So that's my tips for the week. And as we do every week, let's go to the ladder predictor. I'm going to pick all the teams I think's going to win. So everything I say happens. Sydney will be 1st, Brisbane 2nd, Port 3rd, Freo 4th, Western Bulldogs 5th, Carlton 6th, GWS 7th, Geelong 8th, Essendon 9th, Hawthorn 10th, Collingwood 11th. But if Collingwood beats Sydney, and all the rest that happens, Collingwood beats Sydney, Sydney can drop to 2nd. Ooh. But Sydney win their 1st. If Brisbane lose to GWS, Brisbane could drop from 2nd to 4th, and if GWS win, they could go from 7th to 3rd. And if Eagles win, nothing changes. If Geelong beat Fremantle, Fremantle go from 4th to 8th, and if Geelong win, they go from 8th to 4th. That's a big thing. And if Essendon lose to Gold Coast, Essendon stay 9th, and Gold Coast go up 1 spot. And if Melbourne beat Port, Port goes from 3rd to 6th, and Melbourne goes up from 12th to 11th. And if Hawthorn beat Carlton, Hawthorn stay 10th, but Carlton go from 6th to 9th. That's a pretty big drop. And if Richmond beat St Kilda, nothing changes. And if Essendon beat Western Bulldogs go from 5th to 9th. And Adelaide stay the same. So a lot of results can determine. But I'd say the top 8 is set. with Geelong, GWS, Carlton, Western Bulldogs, Freo, Port, Brisbane, Sydney. Just the positioning will be changed. Obviously, they're not going to be the same, and yeah. And so I think Essendon, Hawthorn, Collingwood are probably out of the race, I'd say. Only if Collingwood beat Sydney, that's the only way they'll stay in the hunt. The same with Hawthorn. If Hawthorn beat Carlton, then they're in the hunt, I'd say. And if Essendon beat Gold Coast and beat whoever they're facing the week after, then they have a chance, but yeah. Yes. If Hawthorn lose to Carlton, they're 2 games out the 8, so that's probably season over. And if Collingwood lose to Sydney, they're 2 games out the 8, season over, and Essendon beat Gold Coast, they're only 2 points out the 8, so. This week, so a lot of things happen this week. After this round, there could be only 9 teams in contention, including Essendon, so we shall see. So long.